On November 23, 1945, Air Materiel Command, AMC, issued desired performance characteristics for a new strategic bomber capable of carrying out the strategic mission without dependence upon advanced and intermediate bases controlled by other countries. The aircraft was to have a crew of 5 or more turret gunners, and a 6-man relief crew. It was required to cruise at 300 miles per hour, 260 knots, 480 kilometers per hour, at 34,000 feet, 10,000 m, with a combat radius of 5,000 miles, 4,300 nmi, 8,000 kilometers. The armament was to consist of an unspecified number of 20 mm cannons and 10,000 pounds, 4,500 kilograms, of bombs. On February 13, 1946, the USAF issued bid invitations for these specifications, with Boeing, Consolidated Aircraft, and Glenn L. Martin Company submitting proposals. On June 5, 1946, Boeing's Model 462, a straight-wing aircraft powered by 6 Wright T-35 turboprops with a gross weight of 360,000 pounds, 160,000 kilograms, and a combat radius of 3,110 miles, 2,700 nmi, 5,010 kilometers, was declared the winner. On June 28, 1946, Boeing was issued a letter of contract for $1.7 million to build a full-scale mock-up of the new B-52 and do preliminary engineering and testing. However, by October 1946, the USAF began to express concern about the sheer size of the new aircraft and its inability to meet the specified design requirements. In response, Boeing produced the Model 464, a smaller 4-engine version with a 230,000-pound, 100,000 kilograms, gross weight, which was briefly deemed acceptable. Subsequently, in November 1946, the Deputy Chief of Air Staff for Research and Development, General Curtis LeMay, expressed the desire for a cruising speed of 400 miles per hour, 350 knots, 640 kilometers per hour, to which Boeing responded with a 300,000-pound, 140,000 kilograms, aircraft. In December 1946, Boeing was asked to change their design to a 4-engine bomber with a top speed of 400 miles per hour, 350 knots, 640 kilometers per hour, range of 12,000 miles, 10,000 nmi, 19,000 kilometers, and the ability to carry a nuclear weapon. In total, the aircraft could weigh up to 480,000 pounds, 220,000 kilograms. Boeing responded with 2 models powered by T-35 turboprops. The Model 464-16 was a nuclear-only bomber with a 10,000-pound, 4,500 kilograms, payload, while the Model 464-17 was a general-purpose bomber with a 9,000-pound, 4,100 kilograms, payload. Due to the cost associated with purchasing 2 specialized aircraft, the USAF selected Model 464-17 with the understanding that it could be adapted for nuclear strikes. In June 1947, the military requirements were updated and the Model 464-17 met all of them except for the range. It was becoming obvious to the USAF that, even with the updated performance, the B-52 would be obsolete by the time it entered production and would offer little improvement over the Convair B-36 Peacemaker. As a result, the entire project was postponed for 6 months. During this time, Boeing continued to perfect the design, which resulted in the Model 464-29 with a top speed of 455 miles per hour, 395 knots, 732 kilometers per hour, and a 5,000-mile, 8,000 kilometers, range. In September 1947, the Heavy Bombardment Committee was convened to ascertain performance requirements for a nuclear bomber. Formalized on December 8, 1947, these requirements called for a top speed of 500 miles per hour, 430 knots, 800 kilometers per hour, and an 8,000-mile, 7,000 nmi, 13,000 kilometers, range, far beyond the capabilities of the 464-29. The outright cancellation of the Boeing contract on December 11, 1947 was staved off by a plea from its president William McPherson Allen to the Secretary of the Air Force Stuart Symington. Allen reasoned that the design was capable of being adapted to new aviation technology and more stringent requirements. In January 1948, Boeing was instructed to thoroughly explore recent technological innovations, including aerial refueling and the flying wing. Noting stability and control problems Northrop Corporation was experiencing with their YB-35 and YB-49 flying wing bombers, Boeing insisted on a conventional aircraft, and in April 1948 presented a $30 million $380 million today, proposal for design, construction, and testing of two Model 464-35 prototypes. Further revisions during 1948 resulted in an aircraft with a top speed of 513 miles per hour, 446 knots, 826 kilometers per hour, at 35,000 feet, 11,000 m, a range of 6,909 miles, 6,004 nmi, 11,119 kilometers, and a 280,000-pound, 130,000 kilograms, gross weight, which included 10,000 pounds, 4,500 kilograms, of bombs and 19,875 U.S. gallons, 75,000